It was all quiet in that remote village located on the edge of the forest. The inhabitants there lived a simple life, far from the noise of the cities. But there was one thing they all knew: do not go into the forest after sunset. No one dared to breach its borders, even in the moonlight, for there was something in the shadows waiting. The elders spoke of a being called the Shadow, which would come out at night, seeking lost souls. It would arrive silently, like the fog, seizing those who ventured out in the darkness. On one night, Sarah, a reckless young woman, decided to uncover the secret behind this legend. She had heard the stories since she was a child, but she did not believe them. That night, after everyone had gone to bed, she slipped out unnoticed, heading towards the forest. The air was cold, and the wind howled through the trees. The deeper she went, the darker it became. It was as if the trees were attempting to close the path behind her, barring her return. Soon, she sensed something strange. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally, as if someone was pursuing her. She looked back, but there was nothing. She continued on, feeling something even more frightening. There were eyes watching her from among the trees. Suddenly, she stopped at a sight that made her heart cease to beat. Before her, in the deep shadows, stood a tall, slender figure, its shape not entirely clear, but its eyes glowed with a red, fiery light. They were like the eyes of a predator, yet there was something more heinous in that gaze. Sarah ran in another direction, but the figure began to gain on her. She felt its presence at her back, as if the air itself had thickened, laden with dread. The faster she ran, the swifter its steps. Suddenly, she fell to the ground, and a faint laugh emanated from the darkness. Frozen in place, she struggled to breathe, but the air was slipping away from her lungs. When she looked down, she saw a long, slender hand emerging from the shadows, wrapping around her foot. Escape was impossible, and the darkness was swallowing everything around her. In the last moment, before it could touch her, a feeble light appeared from afar. As she looked, she saw the villagers gathering around her, holding their lanterns, fear etched on their faces. But it was too late. Sarah had vanished completely. There wasn't a trace of her, not even a scream.